Now, ladies and gentlemen, to prove the point, are there any questions that you would like to ask about the Christian faith?
Christianity.
Give me your best argument against Christianity, if you have one. Here's your chance. Because let me tell you something. We Christians believe in one God.
Not three.
Not three gods.
Okay.
Your imams are lying to you. Your scholars are lying to you. When they say that we Christians believe in three gods, they have lied to you. They say to you that you can't trust the Bible because it's been changed. But have they proven it to you? Have they demonstrated it to you? No, Lee, go on. What's the Old Testament and the New Testament? Okay, so the lady asks a fair question.
What's the question, Bob Sila?
The question is, what about the Old Testament and the New Testament? Isn't that a change? The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that Christians believe in a concept of covenants. The Old Testament is talking about an Old Testament covenant that was applicable to the Jews. When Jesus came, he brings a new covenant that is applicable to the world. And so because he brings a new covenant, there are new scriptures. It isn't that one contradicts the other, it is that one replaces the other. And just so you understand, your Quran teaches exactly the same thing. Your Quran teaches that Jesus changes the Torah. Well, if he changes the Torah, then he's brought a new law. We believe the same thing. I'll show you if you don't believe me. Yeah, he changes the Torah. Would you like me to show you? Yeah, I'll show you. Bear with me.
It's full of rubbish, honestly. How is going to become Christian, live in Islam and become Christian? He must be something wrong in his head. Your religion doesn't stand. God, Holy Spirit, he died, he didn't die, he had this here on the cross. You're crazy. It doesn't make sense, your religion, my friend. That's why Islam come after Christianity. To correct. Although,
right, listen, you asked me to show you that Jesus changes the law of the Torah. Let me show you. This is in the Quran, 350, so you can pull it up if you don't believe me. Yeah, Surah 3. 1 second. 1 second. Halas. Right. Listen. Yeah. No one's your dhimmi here. I don't care about dhimmitude or your Islamic supremacy. Keep it to yourself. Now listen, this is what your Quran says. It says, I have come confirming that was before me the Torah, and to make lawful for you some of what was forbidden to you. That's what your Quran says. So if Isa says that he's going to make lawful something that used to be forbidden in the Mosaic law, is that changing? Thank you. That's what we believe. Look what it says. So that's our concept. You see, you're not following an argument. You're not following the argument. Because I have said, you see, you weren't listening. You clearly weren't. So clearly what I said was that there is an old covenant with its scripture and a new covenant with a... So as Christians, what we believe is we still use the old covenant scriptures, but we don't use it like the Jews do. So we don't follow it in the way that they follow it.
Yeah, but that's what we're saying, that's the difference. If you still use the old ones, that means you've changed something and you use the new ones.
Right,
but
so
we don't use the old.
So let me ask you this question. Who did Jesus come to? Who was he sent to, according to the Quran?
The people.
What?
The people.
Which people? Which people? No, which people was he sent to? Which people? The Israelites, the Jews. So if he comes to the Jews who are following Mosaic law, and he says to the Jews, I've come to make something permissible, halal, that was formerly haram, then he has changed the Mosaic law, has he not?
Yeah, okay, but he...
Yeah. Look, I mean, you're a clever girl, you can work this out. If you've got a system of laws, right, the Mosaic law, and then Jesus comes along and says, I'm going to make something halal that was previously haram, which I showed you the verse so you can see that I wasn't lying, he's changed the Mosaic law, hasn't he?
I'm not read about this part. So
Right. So, I mean, that's logical though, isn't it? Yes? Right. So what I'm saying is, your Quran has exactly the same concept as our Christian faith. The idea that Jesus comes and he brings something new, something different to what was before, and he changes it. That's what we believe. Okay? Now, what's really important for you, because you're having a nice, decent conversation with me. What's your name, sister? Leanne. My name's Bob. Nice to meet you. Are you having a good day? Good. Right. So, Leanne, so in the Christian faith, right, what we believe is that Jesus changes the old covenant and makes it applicable to the world. So those things that isolated the Jews in the Mosaic law are no longer applicable. Okay? Now, you've got to understand, and if you don't remember anything else about today's conversation, I want you to remember this one thing. We Christians don't believe that our religion is based on the book. We don't believe that, right? We believe it is the message that is contained in the book that our religion is based on, okay? That's what we believe as Christians. That's the Christian belief. By comparison, you don't believe the same thing. You don't believe in the same thing. You believe in the Quran, because when the Quran was revealed, that's when the revelation begins. Islam is based on the Quran. We believe that the church started before the Bible was ever written. It's really important you understand that difference. And the reason why that's important is because your scholars are lying to you when they say that you can't trust the Bible because it's been changed. Because the reality is that if the message is not affected by those changes, right, then the religion is sound, because the message is not changed. Have you ever written anything? Have you ever written a book, an essay, or, right? Imagine that, think of it, an essay, a poem. What? Tell me something you've written.
Essay. No, but for us, because every ayah has a message,
Yes.
its own
Yes.
rule or whatever it has.
Yeah.
So to us, even if a letter changed, it can change the whole meaning of the message.
I agree. I agree.
That's why we look at
Yes.
more at the exact thing rather
Yep.
than the whole message.
And that is perfect Islamic logic applied to the Quran perfectly, but that doesn't apply to Christianity. Let me give you a reason. Let me give you a reason. To say that John loved Mary in ancient Greek, you could write that in over 120 different ways, but you could only translate it in one way. John loved Mary. The Greek language works differently from the Arabic language. So that one statement, John loves Mary, can be written in over 120 different ways, but it can only be translated one way. Okay? Now, to show you that I'm not making that up, go and look up a Greek scholar called Dr. Daniel Wallace. He's done that very experiment. And that demonstrates something to you, that changes in the text do not change the message. But your scholars are telling you that because there are changes in the text, you can't trust the message. And that's the lie that they're telling you. Now, let me ask you this question. Going back to one of the essays that you wrote, I guess in English, right? Right. Say you change a couple of the words, like maybe change the name to a pronoun, or you change an adjective to a different adjective that means the same thing. And you change maybe 20 words like that. Could someone who reads your essay still understand your argument?
Yeah, but that's not what they mean. They mean that one letter changes the meaning of the word, not what it translates.
In Arabic, not in Greek.
What does that?
The New Testament is written in Greek, not in Arabic. So when the scholars tell you that you can't trust the Bible because it's been changed, they're thinking like you think about Arabic. But the reality is, in Greek, Leon, in Greek, that logic doesn't work. I take you back to the example of Dr. Daniel. You see, no.
Yeah, I like to listen to their opinions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're very kind. I appreciate that. Now, I want you to go and look at what Dr. Daniel Wallace says about this. Remember, he gives the example. John loves Mary, and he says that you can write that in Greek in over 120 different ways, but you can only translate it one way. That's my point. Changes to the text, even changes to one letter, don't change the meaning in Greek. Muslims are applying Arabic logic about the Arabic language to the Greek language, and it just doesn't work.
It's not necessarily only the language, also it's people changing the message also.
Right. So people are changing the message. Where is your evidence?
That it's different from the Quran that we believe in.
Right.
Which we think is the right book.
Yeah.
And this is different from it, so we believe that they've changed.
Okay. So let me say to you that what actually is happening there is Muhammad is changing the message of Jesus. Because the message of Jesus predates Muhammad. She's asking honest questions. She's being a nice person and asking sincere questions. You should learn from her. So in terms of our conversation, yeah? Jesus came before Muhammad. Jesus gave a message, right? And I want to show you something that the Quran says, right? Let me show you something that the Quran says. Okay? So this is the Quran speaking to Christians. Okay? Right? Look, in 1 second. So in the Quran, it says in this. It says in Surah 5:47, and it also says in Surah 5:43, it says, but why do they come to you, that's Muhammad, for a judgment when they already have the Torah containing Allah's judgments? Then